How's it going, guys? This is Revolution Ricky here at my house, in my office at Casa de Revolution. Here to do kind of a retrospect video of the stuff I've got by one of my favorite bands. Of course, it's no secret. I'm a big fan of this. The band is what I showed last week in my video. Black Sabbath. As we all know, yesterday, Ozzy's funeral procession in Birmingham, England, was attended by thousands of people. And we all saw Sharon Osbourne, Amy Osbourne, Jack and Kelly lay flowers at the Black Sabbath bridge or bench, whatever it's called, I can't remember, in Birmingham, where Black Sabbath got their start. It was a touching, very touching video, a piece where we saw Sharon lay those flowers and our children lay those flowers. I had been a Ozzy Osbourne fan way before I was a Black Sabbath fan. I had heard of Black Sabbath, of course. The reason I had heard them, and I didn't even know it, was a wrestling tag team called the Legion of Doom, aka the Road Warriors, would come out to the ring having Iron Man played in the background by Black Sabbath. I always loved that song, and I didn't even know who it was at that point in time. So I had went out and bought the Greatest Hits compilation on cassette called "We Sold Our Souls for Rock and Roll." I figured, hey, it had Iron Man, and it had all these other songs on there that I never even heard of. It had NIB, which has a great bass line. It had, of course, the title track, Black Sabbath. It had Changes. It had Paranoid. It had a bunch of others. I can't really remember. But it was a great compilation, and it did me for years on Black Sabbath. And then over the years, I bought cassettes, I had bought CDs, I had bought anything I could get my hands on at the point of Black Sabbath, whether it be the Ozzy era, the Tony Martin era, the Ronnie James Dio era. So these are going to be those eras that I'm going to show off. Other than that, there is a little funny tidbit I'd like to share before I show off this. Me and my mother were very big fans of the reality TV series The Osbournes. And it was going hot and heavy on MTV, which stood for music television. At that point, they had not changed format and become maternity ward television. I mean, back in my era, MTV meant music television. You turn on MTV, watch a video of music, no matter what genre it was. And of course, they kind of laid waste to the 80s, but they still played Ozzy. They played a little bit of White Zombie. They played a heavy rotation of Nirvana and stuff like that in the 90s. And the 90s wasn't really my favorite era of music, but it had Ozzy Osbourne. It had all these bands that I would still listen to. I just didn't care if MTV showed the music video or not. I mean, I could probably pop on a computer and get word of mouth. Of course, I was a big Kiss fan. I saw Kiss 3 times in concert, and this is getting a little sidetracked, but one day, my mother in 2000 was diagnosed with throat cancer, and she had beat it. She unfortunately had to have a tracheotomy and had this thing sticking out of her throat. And we had moved into our house where I live at to this very day. Um, we had they had taken the trach out. They were putting it back in, and finally they just left it in for the final time. But she would have a feeding tube because she couldn't handle real big solid foods. So they had to reattach a feeding tube in her. Well, one day we went to the emergency room and they attached the feeding tube, not knowing that they had nicked an artery. Well, we had got out of there about 8:30, 8:40 at night. And the Osbournes usually plays at 9 o'clock. And my mother's running. And I had basically said, she's running faster than me. I mean, I was like maybe 32, 33 at the time. And she was going, hurry up, Ricky, come on, come on, come on, come on. Hurry up, hurry up. And I go, Mom, what's going on? Why are we rushing? Why are we rushing to get to the car? She goes, shut up and get in the car. Hurry, hurry. You got to drive. Hurry, hurry fast. I go, Mom, what's going on? She goes, if we make it home in time, we can watch the Osbournes. True story. Well, later that night, she started bleeding and she had to go back to the emergency room. They had nicked the artery. They finally got it to stop. Thank God. And we went from there. I mean, we were living pretty meager incomes, but we were getting by. You know, we had food. We always had food. We always had presents under the tree for the kids at Christmas, my niece and nephew. We always had that. So, unfortunately, she had the cancer. She was cancer-free for 12 years. And unfortunately, the cancer had come back in 2012 after I had gotten married. I had gotten married in 2011, and she had was there for my wedding, and she was all smiles. I had finally taken the plunge, and I'm still married to the same woman to this very day. I mean, I couldn't ask for a better partner, but unfortunately, her cancer had come back, and only this time it was in the lung. And in 2013, on my cousin's birthday, I had lost my mom. Me and my sister had lost my mom. But she always loved Ozzy. After the show, she loved him. She wanted to go to see him in Ozfest. She wanted to do something like lift up a shirt and flash Ozzy if she ever met him. I'm going, Mom, you are such and such years old. Number one, Ozzy's probably not going to be able to see it because he's old. He's about your age. And number two, Sharon won't even let you near him. So she wanted to go see Ozzy. She wanted to go to Ozfest because, 50-something-year-old woman wanted to go to see Ozzy in Ozfest. I go, well, we'll find out if they're coming around. They never came around. I was so disappointed when they didn't. I mean, of course, Biloxi, Mississippi would have kind of a little mini Ozfest. Had Ozzy and a couple of bands perform, like, oh gosh, I can't remember. I think it was Typo Negative or Pantera or Kitty or something like that. I can't really remember. But, well, that's what I wanted to share. So now we're going to get on with the retrospect, what I love of the Ozzy's years, the Dio years, and the Tony Martin era. The only thing I don't have, and this is just going to be Black Sabbath. The only things I don't have is the 85, 86 album they did with Glenn Hughes, the album they did with Ian Gillan from Deep Purple, and the last Black Sabbath album they did with Ozzy. Other than that, I pretty much got every album. So I think I'll start off with kind of like this album. It's a compilation I got, I think I got about like 6 months ago. 6 months to a year. I had bought this It's a tribute album. It's I think I paid like $3 for it. Uh, Nativity in Black. Uh, a tribute to Black Sabbath. It's got all of the artists who were out, like Megadeth, Biohazard, White Zombie, Ozzy Osbourne, and Therapy, Corrosion of Conformity, who is also on this compilation album, who I'm going to see with a buddy of mine in September. Um, Ugly Kid Joe, Faith No More, who's doing More Pigs Live, and Typo Negative, which is one of my favorite bands. I love Typo Negative. They're kind of a little bit. They're a gloom and doom. They were a gloom and doom band. Unfortunately, Peter Steele is no longer with us, but it's a great compilation album. I really like. I listened to this the other day, and it's just got a bunch of good hits on here. You know, Typo Negative doing Black Sabbath, of course, uh, Faith No More doing War Pigs, Ugly Kid Joe doing NIB, Megadeth doing Paranoid, White Zombie doing Children of the Grave, which this album I really do like. I compilation albums are a hit and miss with me. I like them and I hate them, but this one is very good. I really like this album. And like I said, I paid like $3 for it at the record store. Okay, I'll just start off with one of my. You can't go wrong with Black Sabbath at all. There's a few hit and misses. So I guess I'll start off with an album that all these albums I like. I'm just going to pull from the bottom and work my way up. I guess we'll go with 1992's Dehumanizer. I love this one. It has Ronnie James Dio back in the band. They did this one album. I love the song I love the opening track. TV Crimes is a good one. I is really a good number. I really like this one. I think I picked this up at Camelot Music, not Camelot Music, FYE, before they went out of business up in my local area. It's no longer around. It was in the mall for many years. First it was Camelot Music, then it became FYE, and then they closed down, and there's not a record store in that mall at all. There is a record store in Mobile. It's the only one. There is one in Mobile, which I go to, and there's another one. It's called Paul's Trading Post, and Mobile Records is a good place to get some music, whatever genre you want. But I really do like this album. My mother got it for me for Christmas one year, and I've always wanted it because I'm a big Rodney James Dio fan. So I highly recommend this one, Dehumanizer from 1992. We're just gonna go down the thing. I'm going to just pick. This one I do like also. The Mob Rules. Love this one. This one's a deluxe edition. I had bought it, I think, a couple of years ago when I was on the mend from my foot surgery. I had the single disc, but this one is the, I'll show it off. It's the double disc. It's got the live album tracks on here, and, of course, the tongue twister. The full-length album of Mob Rules. Always, some people sometimes quote it. I quote it. When you listen to Fools, the Mob Rules. And it's another one of my favorite Dio era albums. So I would highly recommend you getting this one as well. From 1982. 81, 82, The Mob Rules. This one is my favorite Black Sabbath album of all time. I'm just picking down from the bottom. This is the stuff I do have. 1980 classic, Heaven and Hell. I have another Heaven and Hell album in my room. It's the single disc. This is actually the second copy I had to buy because I lost the first one. While I was on the mend, I had lost the album for Black Sabbath, and I couldn't find it because I was listening to it. I had a CD player, and I was listening to CDs still. So it's like that other one. It's a digi release, and it's got 2 CD set. This was actually the first Black Sabbath album I ever bought that's not a compilation. I love the song Neon Nights. I love the song Heaven and Hell. You know, Lady Evil's good. Children of the Sea is good. Lonely is the Word is also a good track. And of course, it's got live tracks on here as well. They went from the gloom and doom era of Black Sabbath for the Ozzy era to more of a Demons, Wizards, Dungeons and Dragons type feel with these albums. Of course, with Mob Rules and that. But I love this one. This was my favorite of the Dio era. Of course, it's my favorite of the any Black Sabbath era. So, Heaven and Hell. Okay. I only got like 4 more albums left of Ozzy. And this one I really like. Volume 4. This is my favorite of the Ozzy era. I couldn't decide whether this one or the one I showed in the beginning, Masters of Reality, was my favorite. It's a close tie, but I do love this album. And this one I picked up for like $5 at Walmart one day. It's, you know, CDs are actually making a comeback. I mean, I got through the CD era and never shortage without knowing there was one. And, you know, you can't go wrong with Volume 4. I mean, it's got all the basic hits. I mean, it's got, you know, Changes, Tomorrow's Dream, Iguana Sunrise, Supernaut, Snowblind. That's a good track. I really like this one too. Volume 4. Now, the album I showed you in the beginning, Masters of Reality. Dude, I like this one. It's got Sweet Leaf, Children of the Grave, which is a good track, Into the Void, After Forever, including the Elegy, LB, or whatever it's called. This is a digipack. I wanted to get the double CD versions of these albums, but Masters of Reality is, I couldn't decide whether Volume 4 or this was going to be my favorite. I do like this one. It's a great album. It's one of my favorites, so it was a close tie. So Masters of Reality, I really do care. I do like. Of course, you know, Paranoid. Paranoid is a great one. It's got the famous tracks like War Pigs, Paranoid, Iron Man, Fairies Wear Boots, Hand of Doom, Electric Funeral, Planet Caravan, Rat Salad, just to name a few. And this is a double CD set. This is the only one of the Ozzy era I've got. That's a double CD set. And all of those have booklets in it. So these are just the 2 I've already got. I think this one was I had the other one, a cassette, somewhere, and it got worn out, and I don't have the cassette anymore. So Paranoid's actually one of my favorites too. And of course, the debut album by Black Sabbath. I really love the cover of this. I actually recently just watched a video from some guy who went to the place where this was shot at, and I don't think they could get on the property, but they saw where this cover was shot. And the album itself, it's regular CD. I wanted to get this one on double CD, but I never could. And it's got, the title track, The Wizard, NIB, which is a good track. Wicked World, that's a good one. And, I think they did this for the price of $600, 600 pounds or something like that. I can't really remember, but I really love the cover. It has that eerie thing to it, and the lady standing out there. They actually made a Funko Pop out of this, which I wouldn't have mind. I've gotten. I can never find it, People buy Funko Pops galore. Maybe someday I'll get it. And I do have a few box sets. I'll go ahead and show off the one I do have. This is Live Evil. I got this for Christmas a couple of years ago from my wife. I think I was on the mend from my foot surgery, and she had bought this for me. I really wanted it. And I've wanted this album, Live Evil, for years, and it's a great, great CD box set. I'm going to open it if I can. Live TV. Hey, cut me a break. Come on. It's got, I try to save the hype stickers off these albums. Just plain box. Of course, it's got a tour book. This is really a good live album. And live albums are hit and miss with me. Kiss Alive, yes. Kiss Alive 2, the drums sound basically like they're being in a box. But Alive 2, is a good record. I like Alive 1 more by Kiss. And of course it's got this tell-all book about the album and the album tracks and the story. There's a lot of things, a lot of controversy with this one because Dio would go in and try to mix the album with, I can't remember, the drums were not loud enough, and then Tony Iommi and Geezer would go in there and remix it and saying the guitars are loud enough, and that I don't really know the full story. And of course it's got the original Live Evil CD, and it has the remix. I actually listened to this about last week, and it's good, but I prefer this one better. I'll take this one over this one any day, even though they're good albums. Of course, it's got a poster in it. I like stuff like this. Usually my wife would just buy me a CD and that'd be it. I like stuff that has these little added bonuses. I haven't hung this up. Don't want to hang it up. I probably would because it's a great little poster of Black Sabbath, with Dio and Geezer and Tony and Vinny Appice, who was playing drums on the album. He had came in after Bill Ward had left, and because they had sacked Ozzy. So I really do like this one. It's a good box set, and I got another box set I'll show you in a minute. But it's a great live evil album. It's one of my favorites. I listen to this a lot because I like, the live track to my rules. Neon Nights is good. I really like that. So if you ever can get your hands on this box set, I would suggest you really get it because it's really good. And I got this one. It's the Tony Martin era box set. It's on Anno Domini. I can't really say that. I'm sorry. Y'all would have to say it. It's got the 4 CDs of the Tony Martin era. They didn't add, I don't know why they didn't add The Eternal Idol, I think that's called. I got that right here in a minute. I'll show you. Show you in a minute. But this one is a good one, and I've always liked the Tony Martin era as well. I think Tony Martin could sing so good on his albums. So of course, I'd save the hype sticker. It's most fun. I tried to get the hype sticker off some of my albums, and I'll put them on the album itself. But with something like this, when it has the box set, I'll usually stick it on here. I did that with the albums with the Dio era albums. I was able to save the hype stickers on that. On my Beatles ones, I couldn't save them. And of course, this was the flap on the back of the album. I was able to save that. I don't know, and they had another flap in here where you see for the Sabbath Tony Martin era albums. This also comes with a tour book, which you would get these on tour with Black Sabbath singing. And then this actually was more or less a Tony Iommi solo project. It had Tony Iommi, of course, Tony Martin, Cozy Powell, who was in Rainbow. He was in of course, he was in Black Sabbath. He was in Whitesnake for a while. He had joined up with Tony Iommi and was doing this rendition of Black Sabbath, which I always liked Cozy Powell. I never had much of his stuff, but I always thought he was a hell of a great drummer and a musician in his own right, because he had a rock band himself. But it's got all these pages to it. It's also got a booklet of this. I'll just call this AD because that's basically what it is. I guess in English it means Year of Our Lord. I got this last year because I told my wife, I said, you know what, I'm buying that. When it goes on sale, I'm buying it. And of course, you got Tony Geezer and Tony Martin, and I forgot this guy's name. I can't really remember it. I think it was Bobby something. I can't remember. But it's a press photo from way back, and basically everybody from that era, what I just showed you, that picture, is still alive. I mean, Tony Martin's still singing stuff. Hopefully one day we may actually get an album out of them, a new album. And let's see, of course, it's got a poster to promote the album where Tony Martin, I think, was the most successful, to promote Headless Cross, which I turn on MTV one day and I hear that guy just blistering with his vocals. And out of all the singers, I love Dio and all, but after Dio had left, Tony Martin was just very, very good for Black Sabbath. He fit. And of course, I got the album Headless Cross. It's not a gatefold. was these little things. This was the album I really wanted to pick up of Black Sabbath years ago because I really liked the song Headless Cross. It's got Gates of Hell. It's a very good dark album, so I would highly recommend you getting that or getting this box set. It has Tear. Tear is a good album. Oh, heck. That dropped. I'll get it in a minute. This is one thing I hate about these digipacks. The thing just falls out. So I'm going to pause the video and pick it up for a minute. So, Tear is a good album. I listened to that recently and it's good. Okay. And, of course, Cross Purposes. Very good album. I like this one too. It's a good one. And this one actually has some controversy because the original mix was basically garbage. Forbidden. I guess no one can blame anybody for not wanting to listen to the original mix, but they had remixed this one and it sounds a lot better. I think a buddy of mine, my friend Tom, had this album. I should see if he still got it, because it may be worth something, because the original mix is horrible. I think it's got, I can't remember. I can't really see because I got the light off. I don't want anybody to blind anybody, because the glare. So this is a real good album. This mix. The other mix is just And last but not least, the only vinyl I've got from Black Sabbath from the Tony Martin era is on vinyl. It's The Eternal Idol. I picked this up from a record store. It cost me $28. I had went there this year. I haven't even opened it yet, and I haven't even put it on the turntable because I don't know what to expect. But it's got The Shining, Ancient Warrior, Hard Life to Love, Glory Ride. I think when Glenn Hughes left Black Sabbath, Ray Gillen had stepped in, who had went on to form Badlands with Jakey Lee. And him and Eric Singer had left Black Sabbath because Eric Singer was in Black Sabbath for a while. They had left to form Badlands with Jakey Lee, and there's an album out there with Ray Gillen doing vocals of this album. I think they added it to the double CD set where he's singing on the demos and stuff, and they polished it up because Ray Gillen is no longer with us. He had died in the early 90s. But that's the only Black Sabbath record I have, and it's a digital recording. I'd like to get the first 4 albums by Black Sabbath during the Ozzy era, and I would like to get Headless Cross. I'd like to hear that on vinyl as well, but I'm not sure. But that's the only thing I've got as far as, again, live TV cut me a break. All these CDs fall out. I don't know why they won't bring back jewel cases. I love the digipacks. I like the nostalgia that they're trying to replicate the album cover. But the CDs fall out and you have to pick them up, and sometimes if you miss your step you can step on them and destroy them, as it does. These CDs are falling out. But this one it's Headless Cross. I would like to get the vinyl record on that, but I picked this up while I was on the mend for my foot. It's a great album. I would have loved to have seen it live, because had seen Headless Cross. I was taking guitar lessons one year, and I recorded music videos on VHS so I can watch them over and over again. And Headless Cross came on by Black Sabbath, and I thought it was a cool track. So, that's basically all I've got as far as Black Sabbath is concerned. Hopefully I'll get more, and I'll show off more and do a complete list of my Black Sabbath stuff. I don't have much of Ozzy, because I debated, what Ozzy era do I love the best? And do I love it with his tenure with Black Sabbath, or do I love it with his tenure as a solo artist? And it was kind of, Black Sabbath kind of won over more, because that's where you got to start. And it's, not to disrespect his solo material, his work with Randy Rhoads, Brad Gills, Jake E. Lee, his work with Zakk Wylde, and his slew of bass players and drummers like Randy Castillo, who played drums for him for years. And he went on to do, after Tommy Lee had left Motley Crue, he went in to play drums with Motley Crue. And that was a good fit. And I've got their album, New Tattoo. And after that album came out, Randy had passed away from cancer. So I really liked Randy Castillo. He was a great drummer. I really liked Zakk Wylde. I love Black Label Society, I think. And his offshoot, Black Sabbath, doing all the Black Sabbath tunes is a good fit. Of course, him and Black Label Society, a friend of mine lent me the DVD of him one year. It was Black Label Society Live. And I asked my friend, I said, look, can I buy this from you? He goes, no, my sister gave it to me, man. I said, oh, okay. But when I went to Utah this past spring, I went to quite a few record stores because I was looking for this one record, and I explained it in an earlier video. I was looking for the Trick or Treat soundtrack on vinyl, and I could never find it, so I threw my hands up in defeat and got the Trick or Treat. I ordered the Trick or Treat soundtrack on vinyl from this company, and I have it in my collection now. But that's beside the point. I just want to get on here and share what I have as far as Black Sabbath is concerned. I really appreciate all the comments I do get and the viewers I do have. I'd like a little more, but please promote my channel. Have your friends subscribe. I don't ask for much. Basically doing these videos as a labor of love, just to show off stuff that I do have. And I would like to say this. Ozzy, we're going to miss you, buddy. We're going to miss you. You're the Prince of Darkness, but you gave a lot of light to the world with your talent. The music will always live on, and your memory will never fade from our minds, and you will always be forever in our hearts. You kiss my mom for me. You kiss my mom for me, and you give her that private concert that she wanted so bad. Well, this is Revolution Ricky signing off. Keep spinning that vinyl and the CDs. I'll see you in the next video. Ozzy, we're going to miss you.